Howdy y'all, Tito Jones here, and you're listening to the Spaghetti Taco Bout It podcast, Alabama's favorite iCarly podcast.
Hello everyone, welcome back. It's episode 4 of Let's Spaghetti Taco Bout It with your host, Revan Joycey, and Thomas Drew.
Hello everyone, it's me, Thomas Drew, your co-host, joined by Revan Joycey, as he's just said, and welcome on in to the 4th episode. We're here to talk about all things iCarly, the revival, the old show, pretty much everything you need to know, because we are iCarly experts on this number 3 world's rated third world's highest rated iCarly podcast.
But we're also racist as well.
We're also racist, whatever that means.
Yeah, that sounds like some word they'd have made up in the original or something.
Yeah, they have it on like the shirts that they made eventually, yeah.
Like chiz, great word.
Yeah, pretty good word.
Yeah. Really sorry, a bit of a sad one, guys. Tito, the much-loved and enjoyed third host of the show, he's not going to be here this week. Maybe he'll pop in. I believe he's on Highway 185. I'm sure that's a real highway that he's currently driving on right now to be here with us.
Yeah, he'd love to be on, and we know that the fans, the response has been overwhelmingly positive towards Tito. I mean, some people were kind of wanting him to take over the show, and, you know, as much as we love that, he's on the highway at the moment, and he can't get to the bloody studio, so, like...
Be a bloody weight off my shoulders if he did.
Yeah, well, you tell you what, man. It's just, it's just one thing after another with this guy. I mean, we're not going to trash him. We've got nothing but love for this guy. He's an absolute saint. But he's just stuck in that bloody highway, and
but yeah, like Tom said, there's some really nice fan art, fan cams, fan casts of like him just in the show, which was really fun to see. We'd love to see it maybe with us in the future, but that's fine. Tito, he steals our hearts every day, and he stole your guys too. So yeah, we'll catch up with Tito, and we're also honoured to be partnered up with him and the illustrious Tito Industries. So more to come on that front. But today on Into the Schneider Verse, we're going to be taking a little dip back into memory lane and travelling back in time to the sweet year of 2007. Tom, what do you remember about that year? That was a good one, right?
Yeah, I'm just casting my mind back, thinking, well, you know, when Bionicle Terms, the Tomari and the Baraki came out that year, so that was really sick. That was like the underwater theme for that year. Maybe Transformers, did that come out that year? Or was that 2006? Oh, 2007, okay, Transformers came out, that was a big milestone. They kind of dipped in quality. Yeah, but trying to think what else happened 2007. You're gonna have to remind me. You're gonna have to remind me of the big thing.
Well, I believe it was the year that Obama broke into the political zeitgeist, I suppose you could say, ensuring a win against John McCain the next year. Also, John Barrowman returned to Doctor Who in a 3-episode arc. Awesome. Face of Bo breathed his last breath. That was a pretty big moment for me. 2007 music. Twilight was the year after that, but that was a good soundtrack. And all those films are currently trending on Netflix right now, which proves that they are films of our generation. So,
and I still haven't seen them. So it's
this guy. Come on.
I mean, I'm a disgrace to humanity and disgrace to this podcast. But you know what?
What else happened?
I'll get around to them.
Oh, Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah, of course.
Infamous Peter Parker dance scene,
which I still quite, you know, the film overall still quite enjoy. I think it's bit underrated. It's
I think you're right.
Gets a bit too much
many
flack.
Worse. Yeah, many worse films subsequently. Apart from like the fact that the whole symbiote arc did kind of bring out Peter's inner misogynist, which I think true. If you watch that film, it's disgusting. But we stand outside of that. Like I said, Tobey Maguire, you're welcome on the show anytime.
Yeah,
and we'll leave it there. But yes, 2007, iCarly debuted. And I remember I was pretty pumped for this. I was a big Drake and Josh fan, as we all were, or as it's now known, Josh.
I just realised what you did there, and that's sad. It's sad to have to refer to it as that, but I mean, we don't make the rules. We don't make the rules around.
No, we don't. You know that he's still like tweeting, and his Twitter is absolutely bizarre. Did we talk about this?
No, I don't think so. No.
No, he like talks in this bizarre kind of hybrid Spanish English language, and he's predominantly tweeting about NFTs, and like retweeting his Mexican fans. And that's the thing, like he tweets these bizarre things about NFTs to the point that you think that he's been hacked or something, but then he will like every 10 tweets talk about himself or his fans, and that is like a very disturbing fan base that's incredibly in denial. As a man who's in denial, that's for sure.
I'm just looking through now and like, oh my god, like this is all the NFT tweets are just horrific. Like, I'm already a big opponent of the NFT game, but this just makes it 100 million times worse. Like, just looking through this.
Sucks for you because I'm a big proponent of NFTs.
Bloody hell, this guy. That's it. I'm off the pod. I'm off the goddamn
pod.
I can't.
Tito's ditched me, and now you.
I'm out.
What if I turned our friendship into an NFT?
Would that make us a lot of money?
I think so. Yeah, of course.
It would burn down like a lot of rainforests, probably. Maybe if it's benefiting
I'm weighing up the environmental impact here, and it's not looking good.
Okay, I'm back on board. Let's bloody do it.
But yeah, so today we wanted to talk about the pilot and also kind of compare that to the season 6 episode, the infamous April Fool's Special, which was beautifully directed by auteur Jerry Trainer.
Yeah, very avant-garde, very groundbreaking, and honestly, we're just going to get into it, right? I mean, like, this...
we'll just do it.
I watched both episodes today, the pilot and the season 6 premiere, and I didn't really know what to expect, because obviously, if you've listened to the show up to this point, you'll know that Revan and I haven't been too hot on the revival series. So I was expecting, obviously, to be a massive increase in quality. We'll go back to the original show. And, going back to the pilot originally, I was like... I did enjoy overall in like a nostalgic sense, but it is obviously a kids show, so there's a lot of like screaming and people jumping on the floor, and it was a lot. It was very chaotic, and it's made for kids. Like it's purely just like that sort of demographic. So I can overlook those things. I watched that. I was like, okay, I'm fine with this, but I'm not sure what to expect for the season 6 premiere. But my god. When I put that bad boy on, when I put on that season 6 premiere, holy shit! I don't know if I should use the G word, but it's genius. It's goddamn genius. No, it is. Like, honestly, like incredible.
No, I'm the same, and because I was actually going to make that point later on in the show. Like, probably the only thing that I think the reboot has over the original is just the lack of screaming, which is just so nice, because like I have been rewatching like old episodes recently, and just, oh my god, it's piercing my eardrums. Like, I'm actually concerned for my what's the word for ear? There's got to be another word. I'm concerned for my health, basically.
Yep.
And it's tough, and also obviously this has been talked about to death a little bit, but people aren't exaggerating about the foot stuff. Like, it is pretty much, you guarantee every episode there is some kind of joke about a foot, and there was one foot joke with Gibby that I thought was kind of amusing, but then like it is a concerning pattern of comedy.
Yeah.
So we've not seen anybody's toes in the reboot, which is good.
Thank God. Yeah. Honestly, that would be a deal break for me if they brought that running gag back, because I just can't do it. I couldn't stomach it.
I can't abide by this.
But yeah, I'm just gonna look through my notes here, because the season 6 premiere, the April Fool's episode. I guess just to kind of, if you haven't watched the episode, it's kind of a almost like a clip show type of episode. Basically, the whole premise is like Carly and Spencer have like sort of been being evicted from their apartment, so they've packed up their things, and now they got the gang over, and they're kind of reminiscing on these like memories that they've said they had. But the thing is, with the memories, they'll like flash back to them, but they aren't exactly how they remember them, because they're like seminal points of the series, like they're iconic moments, but they play out very, very, very differently. but in just the most fucked up and like bizarre way possible. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like actually insanity. And meanwhile, when you cut to these crazy flashbacks and then you cut back to the people in the apartment, like Carly and Sam and Freddie and stuff, and they like play all the jokes completely like deadpan and like ironically, and it's just, I don't know, it's just like it's a really cool way to break the formula.
Yeah, and it's a much more like, I know it's very slapstick and physical, but in some ways the humor does actually feel a lot more like sophisticated and abstract. And like when I put this episode on, I thought, okay, let's watch the pilot and then let's compare like the last season premiere. And when it started off, I was like, oh my god, we're in for another like clip show. And quite frankly, like it wasn't even making any sense in the first few minutes, and then of course I understood why. But the only other series, and again we always bring it back, but it is the GOAT, and that's Community. That was the first time I'd ever seen a show which kind of flipped that clip show format on its head and instead showed clips you'd never seen from Unseen Adventures. And I wasn't expecting them to do this, and it was really fun. And yeah, you know, you have sort of scenes from the pilot where they're all kind of like in wigs trying to recreate that, but with new outcomes. It was honestly genius. And like the classic bit, Gibby coming in with a stop sign, bashing people in the head. I mean, it doesn't get better than this.
It's just funny stuff, and then they flip the script and they have that Japanese man come in and do the same thing. It's just,
It got me.
It's actual batshit insanity. And also the going a bit deeper into the Schneider Verse right now. They do a bit where they go to the Victorious set, and Tito would love this because they replace Gibby with his favorite character. I forget his name right now, but the guy with the puppet.
Yes.
And like he doesn't even really do anything in the scene. He just like kind of goes, whoa, 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 I'm not me, guys. And it's just like, it's like insane the lengths that they go to like just completely fuck with the audience basically. But it's honestly really cool. They bring back Tebow as well as like this genie. And that's when you kind of realize like, okay, this is just like going crazy with this. But yeah, it just works. It works.
Does, and it was great because like I was expecting like some hand waving at the end and some explanations and stuff, but they didn't give in to any of that pressure to explain anything. Like it honestly felt like a fever dream, in the sense that you're kind of meandering from vaguely familiar location to another, and people like blend into others. And I mean, I love like all that kind of stuff. I always love dream episodes like the season 4 finale of Buffy and things like that. So yeah, like I'm not even being ironic, I'm not taking the piss. Like this is the best episode of iCarly I've ever seen. I went online afterwards and apparently like it was too much for the kids to handle at the time, so it's got this like bad reputation. But honestly, folks, like if the reboot was churning out episodes like this could possibly become like a top tier comedy. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah, genuinely, because it's like they take the absurdity so far, like especially in comparison to the revival series. And if the reboot did some of the stuff they did in this season 6 episode, like yeah, it would be like 10 times better, because they take things up to 11 and push things. We talk about so much so far about how the reboot doesn't take things far enough, and in some ways the season 6 premiere takes things like way too far, but like that's why it's so entertaining to watch. Like there's like a bit where Tebow brings in like some mushrooms. He's like, hey Carly, I brought you some mushrooms, and then Carly throws like a book at him for no reason. And I'd seen that being used as like a meme online, but I didn't even know that originated from this episode. But it's just like, honestly, like the meme potential in this episode, it's like incredible. Like it's
every
incredible.
Frame is oozing with meme potential, and like honestly, it was Lynchian. Like it felt like a Twin Peaks fever dream. And there's even like a scene in it which was like the best part of the episode, where I think is it maybe in the scene from the pilot where like Mrs. Briggs gets them to look for talent as punishment, and then all of a sudden, as an inversion of the original scene, like this alternate version of Mrs. Briggs played by Jerry just appears in like a bolt of lightning, and they like hint at some kind of wider conflict that's like kind of cross-dimensional. You know, the mythology of this show is honestly, it's porous. It really is, and that's why I've kind of gone back to kind of refamiliarize myself with the show's mythology, because there's just so much to it. And so, you know, if you haven't seen this one, or if it's been a while, give it another go, guys, because this is hot shit, and we want to see Jerry back in the director's chair.
Honestly, if that would get me excited and get me hyped for his, I think they are greenlit for like a season 2. If Jerry was being sat in the director's seat once again, that would get me very excited, because he clearly has like a very unique style, and a way of, you know, directing the episodes and stuff. And I just want to see that frenetic and insanity, that energy again, because it was honestly a joy and just a breath of fresh air to just get to experience it. And just one point on that Mrs. Briggs thing. That kind of harkens back to the variant theory that we had back in episode 2, how Spence has these variants that kind of diverge from Drake and Josh, or just Josh as we're referring to it now. I guess Mrs. Briggs also has variants that are managing to cross over to different timelines, and I guess Mrs. Briggs is like the Kang the Conqueror of the iCarly universe. Yeah,
I could see it. You know, she has many names, many faces, but ultimately her energy is the same no matter which vessel she's choosing to cause pain in. Ultimately, like, her aim is to seek approval from American Idol judge Randy Jackson, and we can't let her do that. We absolutely can't. So I'm excited to see that kind of develop in later episodes. But I was also quite amused by the final scene, which is a bit of a riff on Back to the Future Part 2, where of course Spencer comes out dressed in exactly the same costume as Doc Brown in the scene set in 2015, and of course they do the play off that iconic scene about having to go to the future to settle something that their kids have been involved in. But it honestly, to me, it felt like this perfect like segue into the revival.
Definitely, yeah. It was a very unexpected homage, but it was a very fun homage. I don't know how they. I guess it's parody, so they can get away with it. But it was it was just a nice little segue for sure. And I do wonder whether this is like canon. I kind of want to believe that it is canon to the universe.
I think they were all just tripping on mushrooms, like, you know. Tebow, he brought some along. They went with it. I mean, you know, in that last season, they're in their like last year of high school, so yeah, they're probably experimenting with drugs behind the scenes. Sure. Don't doubt it. Don't doubt it for 1 second.
I mean, look at Freddy in the episode. He's got the biggest Giga Chad energy that I've ever seen in my life. Like, honestly,
absolutely.
I saw him and I was like, is this the same character as the one that we see in the reboot? Because God, like, he just exudes like masculine energy. You see him in like the pilot, he's like the scrawny, like squeamish little kid, and then all the way in season 6, he's like, Giga Chad. I mean,
he's massive. Mental. Nathan Kress's like workout regimen must have been huge. Like, what the fuck? And now he's kind of like, he's obviously, you know, maybe that lifestyle was unattainable. I'm sure it was, but you know, I think Freddie was an entrepreneurial young man at heart, and I could have seen him being the school's local drug dealer. I mean, how else would they afford to pay for iCarly? So
true,
but we'll see. Did you find, like, not that episode, but like bits of the pilot a bit creepy?
There was definitely an underlying like vibe that I got. That was just like a bit unsettling. I couldn't really put a pin on it, but like, is there something you picked up on?
Well, I pick up on it in a few like other episodes, and it just kind of does creep me out a bit, like how they've kind of written as if like they're adults, and like there's just like a huge emphasis on them like dating and stuff as if they are adults. It's very uncomfortable. There's like a bit in that pilot where like they have the party at the end because they've had a successful like telecast or whatever, and then these like two guys come down and they look like 15, 16, and they're like, oh, nice web show, it was really hot. And it made me want to be sick. It was horrible. Like, who the fuck wrote that?
Now that you remind me of that bit where they like really just like rubbed me the wrong way, it was really awful. Like,
but we do know who wrote that episode, so say no more. But maybe like I'll I'll say maybe he was still used to writing Drake and Josh, where that kind of like stuff is more acceptable.
Yeah.
But they're like 13, so it's a bit much.
Yeah, it was, especially in the first episode of your show. Like, how did that? I mean, all these executives are pretty seedy blokes, but yeah, it's not nice. Just not a nice note to end the episode on.
So, in other news, though, I watched a few other select episodes. I watched the one where Sam is absent. It's the only episode of the original one where Sam doesn't feature because I think Jeanette McCurdy had like tonsillitis or something like that. Fair enough. And then I think Sam's in jail. So they're sort of, they're scrambling around trying to find a new co-host. But Spencer catches he's got a date with a very classy lady. So he's occupied. But also the Colonel Shea himself, he's parked up the submarine outside Alaska. And all him and the Navy boys, they want to watch some iCarly. So there's a lot of pressure for the gang to deliver an iconic episode. So she manages to rope Spencer in kind of thing. And he sort of is flitting between the date and the show. It's classic sitcom stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it was a pretty good episode. I think there was like a moment, I think it was in this episode, or maybe it was in the episode I watched where Spencer's dating Gibby's mum. But it was honestly on the same level as like Eric Andre show, where like Gibby was dressed up like the Statue of Liberty, and he was like, I think he was called the Statue of Gibbity, and then all these little kids like they run into the set and they start beating him with all this stuff, and he's like, "Stop! I'm the Statue of Gibbity, please! I'm the Statue of Gibbity." Like it was the most Eric Andre shit I've ever seen.
That sounds incredible. Honestly, if they made the iCarly's return, like the in-universe show in the reboot, like just like her version of the Eric Andre show, that would be like insane. That'd be
because
incredible.
Honestly, like that is okay. I will say this: when I'm watching the old episodes, when they actually, it's a mixed feeling because on the one hand, like it's exciting when they do the show, but at the same time, it's really fucking irritating because they are just screaming. They're saying random stuff and it's pretty much not always that funny, but occasionally there will be something that is so random and it is Eric Andre-esque. So and that's usually when Gibby's involved because honestly it can't be understated how much this reboot needs Gibby. It is crying out for Gibby. Like he is such a star in these episodes. But yeah, that's such a good point to make. Like if iCarly was just this insane fucking Eric Andre like surreal thing where they're like messing with guests, which it pretty much was, but just up the ante. Obviously it could be a bit more adult now. That's what it should have been, but instead it's like, oh, I was just editing about, I don't even know. It's like makeup. It's like Zoella shit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like they started the show originally to kind of like go against their teachers because they wouldn't let these like weirdo kids be on the show. So they decided to make the show so they could have these people on. And to like rebel against what they weren't allowed to do. But then you go to the reboot version of the show, and it's like the safest, like incarnation of the show they could ever do. And yeah, they could just do some wacky shit. I mean, not with the style of show that they're kind of going for. If they did go really random, not all of it's gonna stick, I guess. But like. Honestly, I'd rather them just try weird stuff than them just play it safe. I
would take that any day over like the reboot's fascination of just referencing things that are like culturally relevant at the moment and that being the joke. Like it's so tiring. Like I think there was a bit where Spencer said something about like she's celiac or something, and like it's not that I find that offensive, but it's like okay, now that we live in a society where like people are more aware of people with like dietary requirements, things like that, people know what that means, but it's like it's not a joke to say that. Like it's just not funny.
Yeah, it's just not a joke. It's just not like
it's not a joke. So you're just ramming the episodes with these like references, and it's just tiring. I mean, in episode we're jumping ahead a little bit here, but episode 8, in the first 32 seconds we get references to both Kanye West and Elon Musk. I mean, come on.
God, yeah, guys, what are you doing? If you're not going to get either of those people on the show,
exactly,
just cut that line. Just cut it.
A la Michelle Obama.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, I can't believe like the original show managed to get like people like that on. and the revival hasn't got like anyone notable really.
And the most famous person is Christine Taylor, who you might remember from Zoolander and being Ben Stiller's ex-wife.
Yeah.
Which was kind of surprising to see her pop up. But yeah, like you said, like we're on episode 8 now, whatever. I mean, there should have been some really heavy hitters by now.
Exactly. And like, even, I mean, we kind of like, in our predictions episode, we talked about like how they're going to bring on like influencers and stuff. And they do actually bring on, I recognized an influencer in, I think it was episode 7 or 8. I think it was 7. But they don't really acknowledge it. She's just playing a character.
Right.
But yeah, they haven't really done anything like that, which I was pretty surprised by. But yeah, just odd that they haven't really done anything like that. And it would kind of, I think it would elevate things, even if they were just bringing on people, I guess. But
yeah, well, I think like we've said, every episode kind of hovers around like a kind of good relevant concept and then kind of doesn't really capitalize on it. But I was reading that apparently like one concept for the actual show itself coming back was that Carly and Spencer would be running like a house, like an influencer house or something, and like training them to be like the next generation of iCarly. And obviously that is like the worst fucking idea ever, and thank God that the cast vetoed that. And just chose to instead focus on the characters in their lives, which I think is the right call to make. But within that, I think, as we kind of said in episode 1, I think they could have really kind of played with all these different influencer factions. And because something that's great about iCarly is like a lot of the episodes have all these like really random zany villains. And so if you kind of like really play on sort of making caricatures of these well-known internet types and making them enemies and having Carly kind of compete with them in this new world, I mean, that's a good show right there. But maybe season 2?
Possibly. Yeah, maybe they'll do like a ninja Fortnite type of villain in one episode, and they'll catch him saying a slur or something, and honestly that'd be a bit more entertaining than what they're doing at the moment.
Yeah. But... And like that whole thing of like Freddie being maybe lured into like a vlogging team and it just being too intense for him and something like that. But again, and Freddie needs a job because again, what is he doing at the moment? What is his job?
I don't know. Is he technically freelance for iCarly, but like, does she even pay him? I don't know. Like, what's the situation?
She doesn't need him. Like, we even see her and she's editing herself. So what's he doing?
True. Yeah, he's just a bum.
Back in the day, he is a bum. Back in the day, his paycheck would have been well earned because he was zipping about all over the place, setting things up. But
yeah, I mean, you see in the pilot even like he's got all that equipment. Obviously, like, you know, you got to pay for that. You got to pay for his experience knowing how to use that. I will say one thing about the pilot. They'd made a joke about the white balance.
Yes.
And like, I didn't catch that when I was a kid, obviously, because I was like, I don't know what that is. But like, how does Sam know what that is? I would expect Freddie to know that because he's obviously a camera guy. But like, Sam's the one that instigates that joke, and I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on?
That's so funny. That's so funny because like obviously we did like film at uni and stuff like that, and it took me like all of first year to even understand. Like I kept hearing people being like, "Oh, check the white balance, check the white balance." What the fuck are they talking about? Like, I know I'm pasty as fuck, but please, like, I thought it was something about my complexion or something, but no, it's some technical term. There's no way Sam would know.
No, especially a person of her ilk. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think like the original pilot still better than the current one.
Oh,
but obviously 100%. There are a few misses, but it just has such an energy like those old ones, and I think like as we're talking about with all the guest stars in the original show, you know, it was kind of like more. This is what I was wondering. I was like, if I was the age I am now, would I know that existed, kind of thing? And I don't think I wouldn't have gone out of my way to watch it or anything like that because it would have been a kid show, but like I think culturally it was quite relevant, whereas like you can't really kind of point to shows like that today and like, you know, everyone's aware of them. I don't think there are sort of comparable shows at the minute, and so that's why like when they brought it back, they really had every sort of go ahead to just really go all out.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's just a shame that and we'll get into it when we actually talk about the episodes, but from everything we've seen so far, it doesn't seem to be going in that direction. It just seems like they're basically just like, it's kind of what we expected. It's like the most standard thing. And like I think I previously said that like in previous episodes that this show is just like it's just the same as the old show, but like going back and watching the original show, it's like honestly not like it's like the original show is so much different, and it's just like it is a lot better, even though it is like aimed at kids, obviously. At least it knows its audience and it knows what it's setting out to do, and it doesn't always do it well. There are some misses, like you said, but when it does do it well, it does like deliver. And, it's a
well, that's
shame.
the thing. I feel like we're a little bit too harsh on like Carly's character in the original, because she's a lot.
She's way better.
Way better in the original, like much stronger character. Like she's almost just as crazy as Sam, really.
Yeah, definitely.
I did see a little bit of that in episode 7, but
yeah, I think she's like kind of. I don't know if she's like kind of taking a bit to like kind of get into it. Maybe that's the case, but like going to the opening scene of like the pilot episode from the original show, like you do get a really good impression of Carly's character just from that like opening bit, and like way more than you would going into the pilot of the new show if you didn't really know what was going on. Like you would have no idea of like who these people are, but the original pilot does it so well.
Absolutely. So the last thing I want to mention in this segment is a big episode that I caught up on from the original was I, Psycho, which was Nora Dershlet's debut, because obviously I didn't know who that character was when we watched that episode of the revival.
Yeah.
Also found out that the actress who plays her is married to the guy who plays Lubert.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, apparently. Pretty crazy stuff.
That's insane. What?
Surely he has to come back, because there is, they're part of the iCarly family, truly. So
seeing him again in the season 6 like episode, my God, it was like he was just yelling and like, but it was like deeply unpleasant, but also like it was kind of I kind of liked it at the same time. He just like don't even remember what he said, but he's just like, get out and shit like that. I don't know, I probably destroyed the mic right there. I'm sorry guys, but
it like I had like 2 seconds of that and then it just cut it out completely, so I'll get to catch up on that.
Too powerful
in editing
for this call. Bloody hell. Yeah.
But I was pretty impressed with the episode, and something really stood out to me. There's like this whole thing where they get trapped in her basement. It's her 15th birthday. She kind of lures them in under the false pretense of getting them like takeout or something like that. And she locks them in, and it's a little bit contrived, but for some reason like she makes them send a video to Gibby. Like I don't know why she would, because she took like all their phones and everything like that. But anyway, they encode the birthday message with a secret call for help, like a code. And surprisingly, like Gibby manages to work it out himself. It's like every 4th word kind of thing. So he gets on a train with Guppy or Gubby or whatever, and they go to save the day. Yeah. And he gets into the basement, right? And him and Nora have a 1v1. And I'm not kidding you, it was so much like the conclusion to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Brad Pitt is just laying out the Manson family, right? Honest to God, like, it's kind of a joke me saying this, but I'm also somewhat serious. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Tarantino was just surfing channels one day and saw this, and he like stole the fucking choreography, because Gibby, like, he grabs Nora, slams her across a coffee table. She's this close to just like bashing her head off the fireplace, like in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They're going fucking mental. Gibby, he draws blood from his mouth. He like wipes it away, and you do see like the faintest bit of blood, like as much as I'm sure they're allowed to show on TV.
Oh my
God. It's fucking mental. Like, he's out for blood, that boy. And like I said again, we need Gibby back.
Yeah, we really do. He's like, I mean, they promoted him to series regular and like eventually in the original show.
Yeah.
There's just something missing. There's something missing without Gibby's energy. I mean, yeah. They need to get Noxic back. And that's our Noxic mention for the episode, obviously.
Episode 4.
We always got to get a Noxic mention in there, but please, Noah, if you're listening, we love you. We need you, please.
We need you. We think of you. So, like, as we all know, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was as much about the kind of 60s culture and the Manson murders as it was about Tarantino's love for television growing up. And I think that it was full of references to TV and film. It wouldn't surprise me if that love for TV's carried on, and he is a fan of iCarly. And as we all know, there has been an iCarly movie in talks. It's long gestating. I've had many high-profile directors attached to the project over the years. From, I think, oh my God, who's that guy? Josh Trank. He was attached to it at one point. I think most recently Greta Gerwig as well. Sort of threw her hat into the ring. But what if I just have this theory? Tarantino said he's only going to make one more movie and it's going to be close to his heart. I think this is it. I think Tarantino's last movie is going to be iCarly.
Do you think it's going to be like an adaptation of that first season leading up to that bit, like you described, like, so you're just going to make a shot remake of that scene, and combine it with like the elements of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? And it's just that, or do you think it's going to be an original story where it culminates in a similar scene, still with Gibby, obviously? What do you think? It's going to be an adaptation or a new continuation?
That could be the case, because as we know, he was in talks to do a Star Trek film as his final movie, and he was going to adapt the episode from the original series where Kirk and Spock travel back in time to the 1930s with the gangsters. Now, I've seen that episode. I've not seen many, but that was one I just happened to see. It's pretty good. Probably not what I think that franchise needs cinematically at the minute, so I'm actually not that upset it's not happening. But yeah, maybe that is Tarantino's style. Maybe he will go back and adapt an episode, and maybe like iPsycho, he'll reimagine it. He seems to just want to throw Chris Pine into everything. He says like Chris Pine's his favorite actor, apparently. Now, I like Chris Pine, don't get me wrong, but just kind of Tarantino, he comes out with some crazy shit, that guy, you know? Yeah. So maybe it could be that, but I'd like to maybe see it be its own thing. Like it could be, sure, as we talked about last episode, that kind of bridge between the original and the new series, or just something else. I think like Spencer, he's one of those kind of chaotic characters, much in the way that Kramer was in Seinfeld. And as we all know, Kramer had many kind of odd side schemes and associates, and I would quite like to sort of look into Spencer's world a little bit more. But it's going to be bloody, and that's something that the original didn't shy away from. I think to be honest, I could see Sam. This could be Jeanette McCurdy's return to acting, her front and center. Could it be also Kill Bill 3? It could be a sort of hybrid movie. Jeanette McCurdy, I know everyone's saying Maya Hawke's going to be playing the bride's daughter, but what if it's Jeanette McCurdy? She's out for blood, she's out with the biker gang, and it all sort of collides with Carly's world. I just think there's a lot of potential there, and it really wouldn't shock me. So guys, potential exclusive, you heard it here first. Yep. Tarantino's next movie, iCarly. It's
going to happen, and this is my hot prediction, because I think the rumors about Maya Hawke, I think that's going to happen, but it's also going to be a twin situation. So it's going to be Maya Hawke is like it's going to be her and the bride working together against Sam, who's like kind of almost like the main villain of the piece, and she kind of finds out that the bride is her mother, and it's this kind of like clash of worlds and like these big reveals, and I just think that would be a great way to bridge that gap, like you said.
This is going to happen, so I'm looking forward to that. Also wanted to bring this to your attention, Tom. I on the website that I watch iCarly on, I can't say it, but I'm pretty sure it's affiliated with Paramount Plus. Absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty scared it's giving me a virus, but absolutely it's legit. They had a very interesting write-up for the reboot that I'd just like to read right now. And maybe we could set this to a beat, maybe in editing. It could be a little bit rap.
Have a look.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Brilliant TV show from 2021 year. A classic comedy TV show. iCarly. Season 1 has literally no weak scenes. iCarly, Season 1 gave me goosebumps. I saw this TV show many times. Really many times. Film with best plot ever. Best directing. And really good chosen actors. iCarly, Season 1 is one of those TV shows where no one gives a weak play. iCarly, Season 1 has strange energy that fills me every time I watch it. Watch it, and I'm sure you'll become a fan of drama category TV shows too. In 2020, you have to watch iCarly, Season 1 online.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot.
That's like slam poetry.
Honestly, I mean, and that's the funny thing is, that's the way I write on the Direct, which is the website that I write for. That's the style of writing that I use, so it's kind of crazy that they've done that as well. That's the amount of times they said iCarly Season 1. I mean, they really hammer it home that this is It's the first season.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's compelling. It's compelling, and I'm sure
That'll
get a lot of people in.
It tells you all you need to know, and so that's pretty cool. The guys at Paramount Plus, the marketing, they're doing a good job. So just thought I'd share that with you guys. All right, Tito, haven't heard from him yet. Still,
no, he's still on the highway, I guess. I think he texted me. I just got a photo. Oh, fucking hell!
Yeah.
He's just sent me a photo, right? And it's just like a punctured tire, and like, but like, you know, when you think of a punctured tire, you think of like a small hole, right? It looks like a bear is just mauled off like his tire or something, and it's just fucking gone. He's in the photos, but he looks really upset. I mean, I'll send this to you now.
Okay, I'll look this over.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
Oh, he looks rough.
Yeah,
I mean, my god.
Do you think he's gonna be able to call into the show in that state? I mean,
what did we say? We said do not buy a Cybertruck. What did he do?
He bought it.
He fucking bought one.
And like, because he knows, and we know that everyone's bought Cybertrucks, so that's the only thing on the road. And like, if he buys one,
he feels safe in. But ironically, look at him now.
Yeah, fucking hell. I mean, in fairness, if it's up to me, I mean, he's not doing anything else like better with his job. He's like called up the people to come pick him up and stuff. He might as well call in, but I mean, he's just sending his phone. He's just sent another one. He's got a packet of Sour Patch Kids, and he's just munching on. What the fuck?
What a character! God love him, but it pisses me off at the same time.
he really riles me up. I'm not gonna lie.
What's that app? It sort of hones in on. It's like they've squared every inch of the Earth and given it a unique coordinate. If we could get into that, we could find them, but
we don't have access to that, unfortunately. We just have access to Paramount Plus. So
all right, well, maybe we'll have to call him after the show. We can edit it back in because we need to know, like, well, obviously we need to know if he's okay, but more importantly, we need to know what he thinks about the new episode. So
yeah, exactly. So sorry, fans, you're gonna have to wait a bit longer, but we can assure you that he's coming. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's on his way.
Yeah, Tito's a coming.
It sound right, boy.
Episode 6, actual review time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember this at all. It was about 2 weeks ago, I believe. It was about Carly's birthday. And also they mentioned the location where Twin Peaks is actually filmed, the town.
Oh, shit.
Where the actual waterfall is in the title sequence. That's where they were going to go, which is, of course, in Washington. But apart from that, don't remember anything else.
Wow. That's a thrilling review, and I think we can move on to the next.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll just I've got a bit to say, you know, so we'll give the fans what they want. So basically, to give you and the fans a recap, episode 6 of iCarly revival. This episode, it is Carly's birthday, as you said, and she's convinced that she is under a curse.
Sorry, for a second, I thought you were about to talk like that write-up I just mentioned about that. That's
honestly, like, I don't even know if I could replicate that. It's so
episode
so
6, brilliant TV show from 2021 year.
Okay. I feel like that's something we got to do. We got something we got to figure out. Yeah,
absolutely.
Carly, it's her birthday. She's convinced she's got a curse. Every birthday that she's had, something's gone wrong. So this year she's like, right, I'm not having it anymore. I'm just gonna stay at home. You guys go off and have fun at this place that you said is like from Twin Peaks. But they decide, no, we're not going to do that, because Carly says something like, oh, I'm going to try something a bit more adventurous this year, and like, it turns out she just wanted to like have ice cream or something, I don't know. But yeah, they throw a surprise party for her, and then she like freaks out. There's this whole B plot with Harper, and she's trying to impress this fashion designer, but whenever she meets him, she like kind of seizes up and she just can't talk. So it culminates in her like working up the courage to talk to this guy. Yeah, do you is that jogging your memory for anything?
Yeah, I remember that guy like popping up at the shop, and
Yeah.
then she said her name was like Thumper or something. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, I think Murphin or something like that.
Murphin. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
sad.
And then like in that classic sitcom fashion that I've noticed, especially this show being guilty of, like they'll have this like random guest character who then just appears in every subsequent situation, almost like suddenly at the end he's in Carly's apartment.
Yeah, I guess
It's like, why? I don't know. They got to get their money's worth.
Yeah, they got to get the. They've hired these guys for a specific amount of time. They're crunching. They're working 24 hours a day. They got to get this guy in to fill up the space, I guess. But, yeah. This is an interesting episode. I wouldn't say I didn't like it. It kind of got a bit crazier as it went on. It opens with like Principal Franklin coming back, making a surprise reappearance. Bit disappointed, not gonna lie, because they didn't give him the clap. They gave Freddie's mum a clap when she showed up originally. But Principal Franklin gets fucking nothing. Are you kidding me? This guy has mentored Carly for all this time, and he gets nothing. And honestly, when he showed up, I was convinced, because he shows up and then he just like leaves. So I was like, did they just like get him for that? But he does actually show up a bit later in the show
at the party, at her birthday, right?
But then even then, like he doesn't do anything. Like he shows up, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here," I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this is the fucking Dumbledore of this show. Show him some respect.
Exactly. Put some respect on his goddamn name. It is just sad. He doesn't get some love, but I'm just looking through my notes here. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through this. Like my notes are.
I'm gonna be in the same position. They're like so haphazard.
My notes are like, because they're always like phrased really like, because they're spur of the moment. So I'll just read like a couple of different things. So I wrote, when Principal Franklin showed up, I wrote Principal Franklin, 2 question marks. My man gets no claps and whoops, 2 question marks. Then I wrote birthday curse. Then I wrote 27, 2 question marks. Then I wrote, they could only afford Principal Franklin for literally 2 seconds. Dude just leaves. And yeah, that's
some whoops.
We want some goddamn whoops. Yeah, like as far as episodes would go, it's a pretty normal episode, I guess. I thought the B plot with Harper and that guy, it was alright. Like it was a bit more than what Harper's gotten in the past, at least. And I think her actress, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but I thought she gave a decent performance there. But I do want to shout out quickly. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a familiar face in the crowd at the party, and I was like, I don't know where I've seen this guy. And I don't know if you remember him, but he was like a guy, and he had like long blonde hair. Like it was like it like kind of flicked at the end. But he has a couple lines. He's like this bodyguard type dude at the party. But I was like, I recognize this guy from somewhere. And I looked him up.
Was it Sonny with a Chance?
It was Sonny with a Chance, yeah. Doug Brochu. And he was one of the main cast members on that. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing here? But yeah, it was just a very random reappearance from this guy. But it was nice to see him. I mean...
It was. Yeah, I think... Well, I was watching this with Lizzie, and I think she said like he was in iCarly as well. I remembered him more from Sonny with a Chance. But he does... I mean, he's grown up, you know? He's a young man now, so he looks different.
He does, yeah. Yeah, just nice to get a bit of return, even though it doesn't really get much to do, but...
Yeah.
So this episode, it culminates in Carly's talking to this medium, and the medium basically alleviates her of her curse and like basically stops it from happening, and then he fucking dies. Like this medium just like straight up dies.
This is the one where I messaged you and I was like, the body count's like 4 in this episode.
Yeah, it's crazy. And the thing is like that happened, and it's like, I swear it must have been like 3 minutes to the end of the episode. So I was like, they've introduced this plot element like with so little time to go, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So Spence has to do this whole bit where he's like trying to stop Carly from seeing these guys pick up the body, and it's just crazy.
Yeah, and they treat it like it's just this like little last act, teensy little bit, but that's like a big thing. I'm sorry.
That's like the thing. Like they treat it. It's almost treated as like not in universe, I guess, because Spence obviously freaks out. But like, what does he? I kind of
does, but again, not as much as you would.
Yeah, like I feel like if they did that in the original show, and I swear I think they have done a similar thing where someone just fucking dies in the original show, and then they have to like do something. I think like, can't remember which episode it was, but someone gets like an aneurysm or something and just dies, and they have to call the hospital.
Yeah, they literally even said aneurysm. And I think I watched that one very recently, and I can't even think what that one was. But yeah,
and I feel like in the original show, like they would have freaked out more because obviously it's a screamy show, it's like a kid show, so they're gonna amp up the performances. But I feel like this episode almost needed that at that point.
Oh my god! Actually, that reminds me, the Halloween one. Watched that one recently. That's like 23 minutes of just screaming.
Oh god. Yeah, I remember. This is the thing, because like I'd watch it. It was on the program that I watched when I was a kid, but I mostly saw it when I would come visit England because my grandparents had Nickelodeon. But yeah, whenever we watch it, my grandparents were just like, all they do is scream in this show. And like, obviously as a kid, like I don't really like pay attention to that, so it's not like as noticeable to me. But now watching, I'm like, oh my god, it literally is just screaming like 24/7.
You are just like looking at the ground, like embarrassed, like please make it stop, please.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm just looking at my other notes. It's Millicent does like a Good Luck Charlie ending. She does the like that's all I got, man. This is pretty nothing episode, to be honest. The episode name kind of says it all. I'm Cursed. It was a pretty unoriginal name for the episode, and it just turned out to be kind of just a bit of a wet fart of a thing. But yeah,
that is some seriously wow. Some critic.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I think you're a fucking joke, mate. It was sick. It was amazing TV. Well, okay, let's move on to episode 7 then. I do agree with you, by the way. Episode 7, what was that called? Do you know?
I'm looking. I Need Space.
I Need Space.
Another great episode.
I Need Space. Why was it called that?
I
just watched this episode.
I actually don't know. I think it's because Carly and Harper like are kind of getting on each other's nerves. But like they don't even like they spend the whole time together. Like
that was like a very brief setup. Like that was very, like the initial bit, but it very quickly moved on from that. So
really weird. Yeah.
In this episode we find like you said, Harper and Carly, they're kind of at war with each other. Harper's costumes and outfits are spilling out into their apartment, and as any reasonable person would be annoyed, Carly was. They reach a stalemate, and Harper then ends up getting to use Spencer's loft. I mean, she's got a pretty cushy deal. Look, let's be honest, Harper's a pretty entitled character, I think we could say that. Then they end up getting involved in some kind of like, well, it's kind of like a pyramid scheme in how it feels, but it's also like a cult, and they're also harvesting data. So, once again, some kind of very timely pieces there, getting shades of Cambridge Analytica scandal, things like that. So once again, iCarly biting satire. Christian Taylor, she guest stars, as we mentioned before. And then we have a subplot with Freddie and Millicent and some Girl Scouts, which was maybe the worst B-plot we've had so far, in my opinion. But I would say that I went into this episode really just being like utterly bored. By the end of the episode, it actually was maybe, I would say, one of the better ones. What did you think?
Yeah, I think I agree, to be honest. Like, I think the premise itself kind of helped that. It is a bit more interesting than we typically get in some of the episodes, especially compared to like the last one, where it was not like much really like happened. Yeah, this one I think it also helped. Argentina, the villain, essentially. I think she does bring a lot more to it because like you said before, like they can't, like iCarly is kind of remembered for like these like crazy villain characters like Lubert, like Nora Dershler and stuff. So they do kind of need these like, and of course Neville as well. Like I think they do need these antagonistic forces to kind of push the characters to their limit. And I'm not saying that Argentina necessarily did that to a like massive extent, but she certainly did it more than others. And I think like this is one of the few episodes that actually uses the web show at all, but in like an actually like semi-compelling way.
Yeah, we still didn't see it, but it factored into things in a meaningful way.
Exactly, yeah.
And I agree completely. Like, it did feel more like iCarly because you were actually seeing the gang, or well, not really the gang, just Carly really, but she was up against some kind of antagonist. And I think that's the thing. Like, the show needs to stop kidding itself. It's not iCarly's not just some kind of, you know, comedy about like dating and things like that. They need to embrace their true DNA, which is, you know, wacky, zany, riffing on genres week to week with kind of these nutter characters. And so yeah, it was nice to kind of get a bit of a taste of that again. And like I said earlier, like Carly did sort of feel a little bit more like herself there because she was getting quite, you know, she was getting frustrated and she was kind of passionately going after something, whereas the Carly so far is just being quite like, honestly, you could tell me she's like high constantly, not like aggressively high, but like high in a good way where you're just kind of like zen. That's kind of like what her vibe's been up until now, so it's good to see her kind of like actually care about something for once. Again, they keep kind of squandering these pretty good premises, and you get hints at it too, like they, you know, Carly and Harper, they join this cult and they make reference to blood oaths and stuff like that. I mean, that would have been hilarious, like, and just kind of insane, like if they are part of this like blood drinking cult or something like that. But again, it kind of just hits a wall and kind of doesn't progress any further. But at the same time, there was the confrontation scenes, they were good. Didn't really make sense, maybe you could say, but it was entertaining by the end.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Spencer, we always shout out Jerry Trainer, but he also brings it obviously to this episode. There's like a bit where he like knocks something over and like this when he goes into that like cult place.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, and you know, we joke about it with the physical comedy of Jerry Trainer. Incredible. He's just an incredible talent. And I've just I've written in my notes just Spencer is too pure for this world, and it's true. Like he's just a saint, and it's a shame that he couldn't find some love in this episode. Didn't work out, but I mean, he tried to make it work. Yeah, it's just sad, really.
I mean, he's got bussy on the brain, no doubt about that. But yeah, I put that in my notes too. Spencer slapstick equals good. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was very good.
I would say, like, it was really jarring to go from a scene where Christine Taylor's like, "Listen, you little bitch," to Carly, and then immediately cut to like this fucking Girl Scout cookie subplot, which is just like such a like, it just feels like it's from a completely different show. Like it was very juvenile and like it was just such a bad subplot, and the outcome of it, like it was essentially just a contrived situation to put Freddie and Millicent together again, and then have that like overly sentimental moment where she's like, "Oh no, I do think of you as my dad," and he's like, "Oh really?" But like, I swear to God, we've had that countless times. Like, their arc, it just keeps going round and round in circles.
Yeah. There's, like, a better way to do it, right? Like, they can... Because they got to this point in the episode where Millicent calls him dad. I feel like they could have... Because we've had our complaints about Millicent. Not necessarily the actress, because she's doing a job, and, like, there's no disrespect to her.
She's not a bad child actor at all, but...
Yeah, she's doing a job, and she's doing it, you know, well for what she's given. But like, if they're going to run with this Millicent character, at least I think, because I think the episodes are semi serialized. I mean, they're quite disconnected, but like they do have like a semi ongoing kind of arc, I guess. If they're gonna build up to this thing of like a Millicent and Freddie, you know, like kind of connecting as like father and daughter, I think there needs to be a bit more build up to that, because it just doesn't feel earned for her to do that. Especially, like you said, it's just kind of like the same arc, kind of each episode for them.
Yeah, and I would like to see Freddy. I'd like to see Freddy just have his own agency again, like kind of actually be part of the Carly plots and see them together and stuff, and it's like he's got this ball and chain just dragging him down.
Just thinking,
it's so tiring, and like Freddy doesn't need that. He deserves better. But yeah, I would give it like a 6 out of 10 maybe.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think it's one of the better ones. Probably not as good as some of. I think 3 is probably still the best one so far.
3 because it actually had something to say. But 3 and 7 so far are my 2 favorites.
Is that what we have to say?
Yeah, pretty much.
There's one more thing that I need to mention about it.
Okay.
And this also bleeds over into episode 8. And it's getting me riled up. It's getting me goddamn riled up. I don't know if you noticed, because you picked up on it last time, but they lost focus again.
Did they?
They fucking lost focus, and it was a close-up shot, so it was like you could like clearly see it. And they didn't just do it in this episode; they did it in the next episode as well.
Really? That's so funny you say that, because I was thinking about it whilst watching them. I was thinking, how crazy that even happened, and I was like, is it going to happen again? And I think I was glancing away at moments. It was quick, to
be fair.
Oh, I've not noticed it. I guess it's becoming a more slick, robust operation, but clearly not.
It's just I couldn't believe, because I actually rewinded it because I was just like, are my eyes going funny? Like, surely I'm not seeing this again. But like literally, it happened again. I'm like, this is unacceptable. This is inexcusable. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I've never seen this on like a. No, never on a show like this ever.
Never, and because there's no excuse at any level. Like, even if this was still on Nick, there wouldn't be an excuse.
No, and the thing is with that, if they lost a bit of focus on that, I think the quality's not as great, so you wouldn't notice probably if they did it, if it went a bit soft in like past sitcoms and stuff. But I mean, even so, you'd probably see a bit of softness. But yeah, just the fact that they've done this so many times, like. I don't want to hate on the crew and stuff, because obviously I'm sure they've put in a crazy amount of work and stuff, but it is just insane that this managed to get through to air. Like, surely they must have had another take or something. Like, I can't believe it.
I know, like, how rushed is this whole thing? I mean, look, I never really pulled focus at uni on projects, but I wouldn't just settle for it not being properly in focus, you know what I mean? So someone, they're gonna get fucking fired, mate. I can tell you that right now.
We're exposing them. We're putting fire up their ass, and they're gonna pay for it, I'm afraid.
Whose fucking son is the focus puller on this show? You know, like, who is it?
Exactly.
Is it Chet Hanks?
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be goddamn surprised at this point, and I'm not gonna stand for it.
No.
Maybe it's Ronnie Schneider.
Ronnie
made his way onto the show. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh wait, something you brought up Schneider, and another creepy moment from an old episode, right? In the episode where Spence has to co-host with Carly, right? They like cut mid-segment, and Spence has got his foot up, and Carly comes up from the counter that it's resting on like a shark, and she actually like bites his foot.
Oh, what?
It's
what
so
the
weird.
fuck?
Yeah.
That is strange, man.
So I just wanted to put that, to your attention, into the internet's attention. Like, obviously, hopefully Jerry had no say in that, but
yeah. Oh my god. Like, thing is, you see that and it's like, oh, it's horrible. But then you think of like how they would have had to do that like so many times, like for different takes. Like, oh god. Yeah. No good. Why would you do that? I am glad that it's left in the past, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. They made the right call on that front. A good decision.
It sound right, boys.
Okay, episode 8.
We're speeding through these.
We're speeding through it, but we could have talked about episode 9 today, but we didn't. That's for next week, guys. We've got to talk about something, otherwise next week's show will be 10 minutes long.
We had a pretty extensive Into the Schneider Verse segment this
did.
episode, so I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. First thought, gaming.
Gaming, yes.
Bit of VR going on there, pretty cool.
I honestly forgot that happened until you brought it up again.
Again, they got to show that they're down with the times.
Yeah.
Every activity that they're engaging in is top of the line.
What game do you think they were playing?
Honestly, like, it sounded like No Man's Sky.
Okay, yeah.
Because they're talking about planets, stuff like that, and I think that's what... But then, like, can 5 people play No Man's Sky?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a single-player game. I mean, I think you play multiplayer online, but you need separate, like, consoles or PCs and stuff, so...
Yeah.
Maybe this is a version in the universe where there is split-screen multiplayer No Man's Sky...
Yeah,
I don't
things
know.
work a little bit differently in that world, so we'll let them off. But a fun time was had by all, and like I said, references to Elon and Kanye within its first 32 seconds. Hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great.
So this episode, I mean, this is the one where Gwen shows up, finally.
Yep.
Who, I don't think we even had a name for her, though, before this episode, did we?
No, this is the first time we've got any sort of insight into, Freddy's ex-wife whatsoever. Yeah, what do you think of that whole development?
It was okay, I guess.
This is the trilogy of just like okay episodes. Like they were just fine. I mean, 7 was a bit better, but
there was one actual like laugh out loud moment with Spencer where like they said Millicent was in a play and she was playing Juliet, and he's like, "Oh wow, what plays that then?" Like that was quite amusing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gwen, bit of a baddie, not gonna lie. Nah, but out of Freddy's league for sure.
Definitely.
I'm just gonna say that off the bat. At first, I was like really just confused because I was expecting a black woman. I was like, wait, so is Millicent like adopted? But then like I was like, well, I guess her dad was probably black, I imagine, who we found out died, which is pretty sad. It's like a lose-lose situation for Freddy, really. I mean, stepping into those shoes. So no wonder it ended up in divorce. Again, begs the question, what is he still doing there? Especially now that we know that Gwen is hooking up with a new guy. So
yeah, exactly.
Let me get this straight. If that ends up well, then Millicent's going to have this like adopted dad who was her stepdad, who's now like a single dad, and now she's going to have another stepdad who's like... It would make more sense for her to just be living with whoever her mum is married to or with. Like, that sounds like a much more stable upbringing, as opposed to fucking Freddy and his mum, who needs to be committed to an asylum. That's not a good environment.
Yeah, Freddy would get a bit more agency and he'd get to do his own thing. He'd have a fucking life, man.
Please, we just want him to thrive.
Yeah, Gwen was definitely not who was like I was expecting, because kind of the way they were bigging up this ex-wife character, like I thought this was just gonna be like a akin to like a Nora Dershlit or like a Luba, like where it's just crazy like unpleasant like character, and you kind of get like, oh, so that's why it didn't work. I mean, like, why would Freddy get with someone like that in the first place? Maybe they had they turned into that character as their marriage went on or something. I don't know. They could explain it away, but then you find out Gwen's just like a normal person.
Which is like, just felt there's nothing horrible about her or anything.
Yeah, it's just quite an underwhelming reveal, and you don't really get any insight into like why they specifically like divorce. I don't think they say.
No, not really. No.
So it just felt like a very weird like. This is gonna be a weird comparison, but like in like WandaVision or something. Mm-hmm. Like with that 4th episode, like you get a load of information when they introduce a new element. Like when they go to Sword and like you find out all this stuff. But even like in other episodes, like even in like Loki, for example, like you find out like about the variants, about how like everyone this is like spoilers for Loki if you haven't seen that. Spoilers for episode 3 of that show, but you find out in that episode that all the people at the TVA are variants. So you're like drip fed like information about this stuff, but like when this seems like the ample opportunity to dive back into that backstory and kind of flesh out what they've kind of been up to, like they don't even take the opportunity to do that, which is a bit of a shame. I just thought it was a bit of a missed opportunity, to be honest.
Yeah, we find out that that we found out how they met and everything like that, and their initial romance in a very sort of Parent Trap-esque plot. But yeah, I mean, I was expecting her to be kind of like the only reason that would require an ex-step-parent to have to step into a situation like that and raise it would be if the mother was negligent or something like that. And that's absolutely not the case at all. She's a successful, career-driven woman who's going off to, was it like Zanzibar or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
And it just, again, doesn't make sense. And I think in comedy things can be contrived, and sometimes when things are so contrived, then that's where it really gets funny. But this is just, it's contrived and just completely like, it just feels like they're making it up as they go along. Like there's no like established kind of backstory here. And I do think the idea of like Freddie being twice divorced is pretty fucking funny. But again, if they're not going to do anything with it, I know they tried to sort of subvert expectations by having Carly and her be friends, but I don't know.
They didn't really do anything with that either.
No, and it just constantly...
yeah.
Sorry, you go.
No, I was just going to say, they have that initial interaction, and it's like, oh, it's like a funny reveal that they're secretly friends. But yeah, they didn't really do anything with that interaction at all afterwards.
No. And then Harper takes a backseat massively again. Isn't really given anything to do, to be honest. There was one line that Harper said that I thought, because to be honest, like last episode I was like, oh, I just really don't like Harper, to be honest. She's very, just like I said, like overly cocky and entitled, and but then like she'll just save it. She'll do a 180 and she'll just say something that's quite funny, like when she called Freddie a dumbass. Like that was funny.
Yeah.
So again, I think it's just they need to just write her better and actually include her in a bit more of a meaningful way. Like, why can't she take over as the co-host on the show, right? Like,
because it just makes Harper seem a lot just completely underutilized, and because like I do want to see more of her, because she does have some like pretty good moments, and I think I'm definitely warming up to her as the show's gone on, but she just hasn't had as much really to do.
They keep pairing her up with Spencer, which is getting a bit old, because you just have this like rivalry, and she just snipes at him, and you just kind of wonder, like, honestly, like Spencer's just getting shit on. Like, why is he even tolerating this?
Yeah, you should just pack it in, man. Like,
did you catch the moment though where like Spencer nearly flipped out at Millicent?
No.
And I felt like Jerry did a great job in his performance of actually like showing that like moment of restraint where like a kid's a little shit, but you kind of have to hold back, it's not your kid. And he was playing pool with Harper, and then Millicent just comes in and she just goes, oh, something's happened, and then she just like moves all the balls with her hands. And then like Spencer's like, why did you do that? And then like he kind of goes, but it doesn't matter, you know. And Freddie does fucking nothing. He doesn't step up. He doesn't actually be a parent at any point. And I just think, you know, Millicent, she's old enough to know better than that. And father of the fucking year, Freddie Benson, he needs to step up.
That's our Benson moment for this episode. Him not being an attentive father.
It's complete lack of action on any situation. Yeah, classic Benson moment.
Classic Benson.
But I thought actually the scene was quite funny initially when they're sort of talking about Gwen's enchiladas, and there's a bit of a miscommunication there. I did think that was quite amusing, like that little moment.
Yeah.
At times though, I'm watching this show, and do you remember that Beef House thing that Tim Heidecker did?
Oh yeah.
Like the whole, just parodying like those sort of sitcoms, and occasionally I just get those like flashbacks. I'm like, oh, this is Beef House. Like. Also, what do you think about Spencer's apartment? It literally, it's turned into like a cathedral. Because like in the original, that sort of fourth wall was very much spatially felt like it was just in front of that coffee table, in front of the sofa, which is okay, you know, like that's a spacious apartment in of itself, and then to the right you have like the bedrooms and stuff. Now you're looking at the set and the framing of the shots, and we're going like further back to the point where now you've got this like whole other massive window next to the kitchen window, and that's where you got this pool table. You come out and then you look at the sofa and the coffee table, there's like nothing in front of it. Look to the right, there's this like car coming out. The ceiling is so high. Very strange.
He's done some home improvement. He's fucked up the exterior of the apartment, so it just like juts out in weird dimensions and like. But you know what? He can get away with it because he's Spencer Shea, I guess. But
yeah, Spencer fucking Shea. Maybe like he bought the apartment next door because they say like he's coming to money and they need to like knock the wall down. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. He's that kind of guy.
That's just who he is.
Speaking of the sets, though, what do you think of the bread Romeo and Juliet set?
That was pretty funny. That was nice. That was like classic kind of Spencer. That was a classic Shea moment.
It was, yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed him wheeling out on the skateboard and buttering those bits of bread.
That was really good, honestly. Like, that's probably the most creative I've seen this show.
Yeah.
Especially with the set design. Like, just imagining how long it would have taken to make all of that fucking fake bread.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, this is the kind of sitcom logic that I don't mind, is like the hastily, like the stuff just materializes out of thin air, and the fact that like he was enlisted to become the set designer of a show in like a day, and then it just like I don't care about that, but it is funny when you think about it.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the sort of stuff that I want to see more of, like this, like basically just crackhead energy, like random ass shit. Please, just more of that.
Yeah, 100%.
We also one moment that did make me laugh a little. Well, gave me a little, maybe a nose exhale is more apt. It's because this is the return of Freddie's mum, obviously. She doesn't get a clap this time, unfortunately, like she did in the pilot episode, but she's back.
You get what you get.
And but she basically has to hang out with Carly and Harper for a bit, and but at one point she brings out like a puzzle, and it's like on the front it's like a picture of Freddie doing a puzzle.
Yeah, that was
I did think that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So there are like little nuggets. This is the thing. There's like little nuggets of like, oh, that's actually like quite amusing, but not enough of that stuff, unfortunately.
No, I think to be on like reflection, now I'm really thinking about it, I'm happy to say that these 2 episodes, they are showing signs of improvement. Like we didn't like hit a plateau or anything. It's slightly improving. Like there are more jokes that I'm actually laughing at, and it feels more kind of like the original. And again, you don't want anything that comes back to be a carbon copy, but you want those elements.
Yeah, for sure. Like because I like going back to some of the earlier episodes, like I was literally just quite bored watching them. But for these ones, it was fine. Like it was like perfectly. I wasn't like cringing out of my mind. There's definitely still areas where I think it does need some work. And with season 2, especially if they get Jerry on for directorial duties, because like honestly, that is so necessary at this point. I've hope. I do have some hope because there is something in there, and I think they just need to hone in on it.
Did you see though that like originally the showrunner was going to be one of the old Frasier writers, and he was like a
really?
TV vet and like loads of comedy experience, and apparently like he butted heads with Cosgrove and some of the other like writers, so like he left and stuff. But you kind of can't help but wonder, like I wonder what it was that he was trying to do, but I don't know. You feel like it needs that kind of level of writing, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, because a lot of the original show, the writing, you can forgive it because like we said a couple times now, it was a kids show.
It's a kids show.
But for this, you are targeting our demographic now. Yeah. We do expect a little bit more. I think.
Show me some fucking respect.
I demand it. but yeah, they need some highbrow people. Get Kay Herron. She's fresh off of Loki.
Yeah,
get her to do it. I don't fucking know.
She's got experience with comedy. For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, they need some. Get some of the old Community writers, please.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Oh, but yeah. If they do that, they bring Gibby back, make him a full-timer, I think it could be something special. And then we can kind of forgive this sort of lackluster season.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they'll do like a hand wave thing. The season 2 premiere, here's my hot pitch. Okay. It's going to be like a callback to the April Fool's episode, and it kind of almost undoes, but like sort of doesn't undo like the first season in a way. Or kind of retells it in a slightly different way. Obviously, Jerry Trainer is at the helm, but yeah, and obviously and Gibby's back as well. Just try to almost like you know how Community did that kind of a repilot type thing.
Yes, yeah, with
one of
season
their
5.
seasons. Yeah, I think almost do sort of that. I think that could work quite well.
Well, you never know. I mean, we're coming up with some great ideas here, and okay, maybe we're not respecting the current writers, but I'm sure they're listening to us and they're thinking they're what we need. So, guys, we are available, and you know this. Yeah.
Well, you know, if they do want to get in contact, tomandrevan@gmail.com, you can get in contact with our manager, and they'll sort, you know, all the legal jargon out. But we're open to do this.
Yeah. Well, our manager that's lost in the woods currently, and
yeah. Oh, just got another ping actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh god, it's not looking good, guys. I mean, look. All I'm gonna say is Tito. He's got the. I'll send this to you now. Yeah. So you got that. He's got like the bonnet of his car is just like open, just smashed into a tree. I guess he's tried to push his car along, but it's like gone down like a steep hill and just crashed into this tree. But it's like really dark, and the only thing illuminating everything is like the headlights of the car, and you can see like a bear like in the distance. I don't know if he's spotted that yet, but
yeah. Well, it's like we've always said, and say it with me now. Tito bones are strong bones, and he'll be
Tito
okay.
Bones, strong bones. Yeah, yeah.
And we always say this.
We always say this because the art of the deal, it doesn't exist without Tito.
No, it doesn't.
He's got to live on, and he'll find a way, I'm sure. Maybe not onto this podcast episode just yet, but eventually he'll find his way. Godspeed, Tito. I hope you find out your way out of the woods. But I think all of his tires are destroyed now, so I don't know. I don't know what to say.
We don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm past caring at this point. My other favorite Benson moment. It's a rival Benson moment, but we didn't get to see it. Was the prospect of Freddy having a soul patch.
Oh god, yeah. Honestly, I think they should do like some sort of flashback to that, because I do want to see that. I want to see what a Benson would look like with a soul patch.
Yeah.
We've critiqued his look in the revival show, how he's kind of got a foppish kind of haircut. In comparison to the Giga Chad energy that he had in the original show, especially that season 6 episode. Soul patch. I think that's a much better look.
Ultimately, as long as Nathan's happy and comfortable, but at the same time, like, it's not really much to go out your way and grow a soul patch, is it, mate? So
just do this one goddamn thing, because it would raise the bar a lot. I'm just saying.
Yeah. My last couple thoughts here. I thought the actual reality of having to watch like 11-year-olds perform Shakespeare, that would be pretty brutal. Honestly, everything that happened, it was a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. Can definitely relate to public schools like that. Really, just having the shittest sets, and I lived that in my childhood. Mrs. Briggs, I think, should have been revealed to be the principal at the end. That could have been a good cliffhanger.
That would have been good. Yeah, that would have been great. What was she, just a regular teacher in the original show? She was, right?
Yeah.
Getting that kind of promotion. We saw saw Principal Franklin in the other episode. It'd be nice to see where Mrs. Briggs has gone and how she's kind of advanced in her career. Absolutely. I'm just looking at my notes if there's anything else.
That's literally the last thing.
That's about it, I think. When Freddy's mom showed up, I just wrote, Freddy's mom? Yes!
Yeah! I can agree with that.
Yeah, that's about me, I think.
I guess the whole thing with the ex-wives, it could have been like... have you seen Parks and Rec?
No, I've only seen clips.
There's like a whole recurring thing with like Ron Swanson, who he has like 2 ex-wives as well, and they're both called Tammy. Like Tammy 1 and Tammy 2. Okay. And both of those relationships are kind of revealed slowly throughout the show's run, and some very, very funny storylines, very memorable moments come out from that. But I kind of wanted something like that here. I mean, I guess wife number 1, that's still a massive mystery. So we can only wait to see what the writers choose to do with that. Maybe wife 1 was Sam, and that's going to be a big twist. I just don't know.
Perhaps, yeah. I think this is the thing. Like, they can't really do the normal wife again, because if they did that, like, I mean, what's the point of Freddy having 2 wives?
Yeah. Doesn't he say in the original pilot that his plan is to become like Carly's second husband or something?
I think so. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that will go there. Have we got teasers of them kind of forming a relationship of some kind in the trailers and stuff in this?
I haven't felt any of that so far.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't seem to be building towards that.
I expected it, but no, not a whiff.
Yeah, so maybe down the line, I don't know. It would be nice to see Sam again in some form.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll be recreated with AI, like deep fakes, like de-aging on a new actress. I don't know. That would look shit, obviously, on this budget. But I mean, I take it.
Couldn't even afford real bread for that set.
Exactly. I was thinking this when he said, he's like, "Oh yeah, guys, I figured it out. We're gonna make it out of toast." When he said that, I was like, just think of the mold that would form from that. Like, oh my fucking god, I can't even like imagine. Just like, yeah, it would just kill all of the kids. All of them would get asbestos. And just
did I
die.
told you about that kid at my school with the sandwiches, right?
No, I don't think so.
So when I was in grade 5, there was a kid in my class, and he was a bit of a rule breaker, if I'm honest, but a kind of the unsuspecting rule breaker. He came from Norway, so we all thought we were getting this Norwegian kid, but he wasn't actually Norwegian. I think his dad was just in the army. He was Canadian. But he would occasionally just do these things that were incredibly reckless. He also won the spelling bee. I didn't do too well that year, I'm not going to lie, which was upsetting. And I'm talking like provincial spelling bee as well. But this guy, he would have these jam sandwiches every day for lunch. And he used to just whack them at the top of his locker kind of thing. So there was like really big tall ones with the ledge at the top. Yeah, and he was like, I'm just going to leave them there over summer and see what happens. And that's one of those things that you hear about as a kid and you don't expect it to have any payoff or anything like that. But his locker was right next to the grade 6 classroom. No, this was back in grade 4. This was the summer between grade 4 and grade 5. And yeah, his locker was next to the grade 6 classroom. And we came back in September. And we're all out in the hallway, like, waiting to go into class. And then we see the 6th graders, and they all just rush out of their room. They're like being evacuated, and they're all like holding their noses, like, oh my god, it's disgusting. Like it's like this big scene. And then basically, like, they all do some investigative work, and they like find the locker, which hasn't been claimed this year, and they just find it's rammed with these moldy sandwiches in these plastic bags with like jam dripping out. And they work out like who had that locker last year, and they find it out. It was this kid instantly, and oh my god, it was hilarious. Like, he got destroyed.
Oh no, that's awful. I'm surprised that they wouldn't have like gone cleaners to like clean out the lockers over summer or something. I guess they wouldn't be able to get in, maybe, but like.
Maybe not, because so that's some of my biggest memories from like elementary was the big thing of like last day of school, like emptying out your locker and like cleaning up. And I always had such a messy locker, just rammed of shit, you know. And that was like a big thing. But yeah, like no one caught on to that.
That's insane. So
yeah, that was very, very funny. We used to do these like history projects kind of thing, and we present them at a fair and that. And he'd done this. Oh, what was the project about? I can't remember what it was, but. He'd done it all really quickly, and it was to a very high standard, and everyone was very impressed with him. And the big thing was at school was that, because we lived in the maritime provinces in Canada, and that's near Nova Scotia, and a big historical event there was the Halifax explosion. And our teacher was like, look, please, nobody can do the Halifax explosion. Like, it's like the equivalent of a volcano thing at a science fair. Like, just do not do it. All this kind of stuff. Anyway, like, he submits his project, everything like that, and it turns out that like there were these old projects at the back of the room, and he'd copied one from like 10 years ago that he'd found in the classroom that even like our current teacher like wasn't there for, so he didn't realize. And he'd copied this whole thing. He'd smuggled it home, copied the whole thing, and then his dad went ape shit. And this was like 2 days before we had to like submit it. So then, like, his dad took him to Halifax for, like, this weekend, and he ended up submitting one about the Halifax explosion.
Oh my god. Fucking hell.
Last minute thing, but
If he's ever out there in the world, he's welcome on the pod. I mean,
yeah, I'd love to catch up, see if he's in jail or not.
He's been in prison for stuffing jam sandwiches and science projects about the Halifax explosion in his office locker at work.
The law will catch up to you, my friend.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
That about does it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the show. Yeah, a bit of a... I mean, we've been going on for quite a while now.
I think it's enough.
Yeah, kind of sped through those episodes, really. But, yeah, hoping... I mean, at the time of recording, there is one episode we haven't seen that is out at the moment, episode 9. So we'll be catching up with that and talking about that in the next episode. But hoping that it keeps going on this trajectory of a positive curve. What are your thoughts going into the subsequent episodes?
Yeah, so we've got 2 to talk about next week, and I don't know how many episodes they've ordered. I think it's 13. Okay, so we're sort of approaching the end now. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're working our way through it, and it'll be interesting to kind of see how all these episodes square up at the end. I mean, it says here, episode 9, Carly reunites with Griffin from I Date a Bad Boy, who introduces her to a special line of products, and that's this is on the Wikipedia page. That is highlighted in blue. That's going to be a multi-level marketing scheme, which is what I kind of thought episode 7 was going to be about a little bit. She subsequently... Oh, wow. Subsequent... Sorry, the Wikipedia spelling is... She subsequentially drags
Yeah, that's
in...
a weird word. What the fuck?
That's not a real word, is it?
I don't think so.
No.
It's subsequently.
Yeah,
there's subsequently or subsequent. I don't even think... Sequential is the word.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
fucking scholars writing these iCarly
Bloody hell, man. I'll tell you fucking what. I mean...
Drags in Spencer and Freddie, who, feeling the effects, quits his job to become a full-time... Dude, we literally talked about this.
What the fuck?
They become This is about Freddie becoming a drug... This is the thing. Like, they keep going for these, like, plot lines that almost sound like Always Sunny, but then, like...
Yeah.
They're, like...
But then they're just the most normal episodes, yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to do Freddie becoming a drug dealer, do Freddie being a drug dealer. Let's go all out.
Yeah, exactly. Make him like a freaking what I can't even, I'm trying to think of the guy from Always Sunny, but I can't. Charlie
Day.
Yeah. Just make him like that and make him go just fucking crazy and like. Yeah.
I'd like to see the guy who always has a cold come back. Maybe he's like he could be a drug dealer or something. Okay, well that's something to look forward to.
I've looked up subsequentially, not a fucking word.
Nah,
not even a fucking word. What the fuck is
hell?
this? Not only are we applying to be writers on iCarly season 2, we're also I don't really want to be involved with being an editor on, but I mean maybe an advisor role.
If the quality of the writing continues for Wikipedia, we'll do it.
Yeah, it's just I think we'll need a big payout because our services we are experts. We've got some expertise. We're gonna need some big bucks to sort this ship out. But Wikipedia, just get your shit together. What the fuck? God.
Maybe do you know what? Maybe in a future episode. Well, guys, I just want to say this right now. A future episode, we have an actual conversation with a former Schneider's Bakery trainee. And that promises to kind of blow the lid wide open on everything that we've known about that whole situation. I don't want to say too much more. I have yet to actually conduct the interview, but this individual has reached out to me. They're interested in an interview, and we'll see where that goes. We've also got a kind of trivia battle coming our way from my friend. He's going to be battling against Tom. Unfortunately, he's in the military. He's not replied to me in 2 weeks, so potentially he's gone AWOL, but we'll see. Hopefully we wish and hope for the best. So
if not, Tito can fill that role maybe.
Perhaps, perhaps. But... and then maybe I think we'll play the video games. Perhaps we've got iCarly the game, and also iCarly 2. I Joined the Click.
Is that? I want to join the clique. I mean,
I'd
that
love
sounds fun. Is one of those is on Wii, right? I think.
Yeah.
Or one of them's on DS, I think.
Yeah, iCarly 2,
Which-
Edge on the Click was Wii and DS, and the first one was...
I think the DS
Same, yeah.
I think the DS just came out as well. That's a
Right.
pretty crazy thing. You're like, and you just got an advanced copy on that, right? What's that?
Oh, I did, yeah. The DS, new bit of technology that I'm sort of trialing at the moment for Nintendo, and I'd be excited, guys, because they got like a pen. You click on the screen. There's two screens as well.
Two screens, yeah, crazy.
And you're just like tapping on this plastic, and it's not the most responsive, but it's cool. So
okay, yeah. Well, we'll go hands on with that perhaps at some point, and we'll get your early impressions because it's exciting that we've been granted this thing from Nintendo. Thank you, Mr. Miyamoto-san. We're eternally grateful that you would give us the DS so early in development. But to tune in for that. It's going to be great. Lots to look forward to.
As always, thanks for listening, guys. We really appreciate it. Having a lot of fun doing this, and we'll be back next week. Goodbye.
See ya.
Hey guys, so I really wanted to be there. I'm so sorry I've missed the recording, but I was just on my way. I was on my way, I swear. But I was driving down the M25 and I was desperate for a Waz and something to eat. So I've pulled into the services and I've walked into the Frankie and Benny's, and they won't let me leave. They keep saying it's my birthday. They won't let me go. It's just constant. They're bringing me on tray after on tray. I can't leave.